Good evening, everyone. My name is Gabriela Skarka. I'm a member of KQED's Community Advisory Panel. We are a group of community members that support KQED in community building. For those of you who are joining us for the first time tonight, KQED is Northern California's PBS NPR member station. KQED Live is our new multi-platform events program that produces screenings, talks, performances, and food tasting based on KQED's mission to inform, inspire, and involve. You can learn more at kqed.org/live. And on that note, are there any KQED members in the house here tonight? Raise your hand. Yes, woo, okay, maybe few more folks after we get the free samples flowing. If KQED brings value to your everyday life, I encourage you to consider becoming a KQED member. There are lots of great benefits, including early access to tickets for events just like this. You can find more at kqed.org/donate. We also want to thank the season sponsors that make KQED Live possible: Comcast Business, Genentech, and the SF Symphony. We are so grateful for their commitment to supporting our mission of civic and cultural engagement here in the Bay Area. Finally, we want to thank Beit Rima, Mazra, Blanche Araj for helping us promote the flavors of Levant tonight. You two made this event possible. Now, without further ado, Check Please Bay Area coordinating producer and on-camera reporter Cecilia Phillips has long been part of the Bay Area food scene, working under several celebrity chefs and as a food tour guide for many years here in San Francisco. Within Check Please Bay Area, her segment Cecilia Tries It follows her around the Bay Area in search of off-the-beaten-path spots for culturally diverse culinary experiences. She is the creator, producer, and host of her own food game show here at KQED Live, Chew on This, which is coming up later this season. You should all attend, where contestants answer, analyze, and eat their way to win through food trivia and games. And yeah, okay, we like the energy. And recently, she has been tapped to host KQED's newest digital food series show, Beyond the Menu, which explores the origin stories behind people's favorite foods in an absurd amount of detail. So please welcome Cecilia to the stage. How are you all doing tonight? Good, good. Oh, come on. How's everyone doing tonight? All right, it's much better. Who's first time for a KQED Live event? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is a big crowd. I gotta keep on my toes here. I've actually done quite a few of these KQED Live food events. I'm very lucky to host it. But I actually was wondering if it would be okay if I could be a little bit vulnerable with you all tonight. Is that all right? Okay, are you sure? Okay, because I don't have to. I guess one of the things I did want to say tonight before we got started was that when I was getting going in my journalism career early on in Northern California, I started out at an NBC affiliate covering news. And I quickly realized that the subject matter would not be for me. It was very challenging. I found it very difficult. And at the same time, I had always worked in restaurants. It was the way that I paid for college, how I got to my journalistic career today. And 15 years of restaurants, right? I thought, let me get into food instead. It will be easy. It's delicious. We all eat food. And it won't have me really diving into these incredibly intense and difficult topics, right? Little did I know until I got to KQED and really started on this series Beyond the Menu that I do, diving into the history of the foods around the world, how much power food has over us, right? And the way that it actually molds our lives, how we can create and take away culture, and the power that it has over a people. I learned all of that to say that I still made the right choice, right? I was able to combine both of my passions of food, but also really learn about how we're connected through food. And it's been a tough road, but tonight is all about celebration. I want to talk about the foods that are going to connect us. I want you all to just take a moment and look at somebody next to you. Just literally just look around you. and realize that in this room alone, thank you, guys are very good listeners. In this room alone, we all share the need for food, right, as nourishment. But beyond that, it is a means to stay connected to our humanity, to one another as people, and to continue to dive into the cultures that connect us as one. And that is what I want to celebrate this evening, okay? I can't think of a better panel of people to be able to do that this evening. And to begin, I want to start with the person who actually is the brainchild behind it and a lot of the creative development for this event, Blanche Araj Shaheen. Please welcome her to the stage. Thank you, Blanche, for joining me.
Thank you.
Welcome in. I'm so excited to talk about flavors of the Levant. You have a rich history in the food journalism world, and your specialty is your own reflection of your background and culture.
Right.
Before we get into it, I do have a reel of some of your work, and then I'd love to kind of chat through about some of the things that you've accomplished. So if you all would watch, we have a small scissor wheel of some of Blanche's work in the food world. Let's watch.
We're going to teach you how to make this dish called molokhia today.
Yeah.
Mom, there's actually a song that was dedicated to this dish. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
How did it go? Molokhia, 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 molokhia.
Molokhia. Hey, la molokhia.
And then, Blanche, did you do that?
Yeah, I think I made it like
That looks like a lady's hat. Like an old lady's hat.
Always. We make all kinds of hats.
Well, oh boy. What is that, Blanche?
I didn't use enough water.
What is that?
I'm doing a hat collection, Mom.
This doesn't look like hummus.
Okay.
But if you say so. The curry. The curry killed it.
Oh, there is curry in here. What is
The
this?
curry killed it. This is not hummus.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. No. Confused hummus.
It's Look at the chicken. It looks very nice. Don't you notice how Arabs always say chicken?
Chicken, yeah.
You like chicken? We like chicken.
That's bomb.
So if you don't have a shawarma stand near your house, this is the next best thing.
Sorry.
Here, you want to eat this part?
But that's mostly ghee. It's kind of gross.
It's like
you
cereal.
just ate all the good. It's not cereal. It's better than cereal.
Cookie dough cereal. You always have to clean up the rest, especially
Wonder if
since
you
there's
could
no egg.
make-
Right now, I'm about to start my cooking class here in Menlo Park at Draeger's Markets, and we are setting up. We got the crew here. What's up, crew? Hey, these guys are. Okay, here we are. We're drinking sahlab in my cooking class. You guys liking the sahlab drink? Yes. Awesome.
Awesome.
And my mother and my brother are in the audience too. So.
I thought I saw some familiar faces there. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your work. So that was part of your YouTube series, which you started back in 2010, Feast in the Middle East. So this is where you were able to take video and kind of use your background in your journalistic skills to also be in the kitchen and cook. And you obviously hang with your mom in the kitchen and have some fun. But tell me a little bit more about Feast in the Middle East and also why you wanted this particular event to come here tonight to KQED.
Thank you. Well, Feast in the Middle East was really a brainchild of my mom's cooking. My mom is an incredible cook, and I knew she had something special because every time my friends would come over, they're like, "What are we eating today?" And they wouldn't leave, and they wanted to eat everything. And she literally sometimes would have standing ovations of people who would come, and I'm like, I've never witnessed anything like this before. But as I got older, I realized that we have a treasure trove of amazing recipes, and when I did a deep dive, I realized a lot of these recipes are thousands of years old, right? And so when they present Middle Eastern food in restaurants, it's very reductive. People don't understand the actual history, the stories that come from every dish. And I wanted to bring out the history in every dish so that people have a deeper understanding of what they're eating. And I also wanted to take down and meticulously, my mom never used measurements. So it was like a deep study of what she did to take down the measurements so that people can recreate this and keep the traditions going for generations to come.
So did she do what some mothers do and just make you kind of figure out what the measurements
Yeah,
were?
yeah, it was rough. It was rough. It was like, okay, so use a cup of this. I use a yogurt cup. I'm like, wait a second. We got to use a measuring cup. What do you mean? We need a real cup or a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I had to really study her because I loved her particular flavors and I wanted to recreate them. And then what happened was, of course, I started creating my own flavor profiles. And I didn't want to take as long as my mother and my grandmother because I was very busy. So I thought, let me streamline a lot of these recipes for the modern day cook so it wouldn't take nearly as long because we don't have that luxury of being able to spend 4 hours to make a dish, which is what they used to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then all of that kind of came into a collection for your cookbook.
Correct.
Which then you put together.
Yeah.
And it with the same title, Feast in the Middle East. And this is recipes from your mother and your grandmother, and that span back 100.
Some of the recipes are 2,000 years old, like literally passed down word of mouth from one generation to the other. It's really extraordinary. Yeah.
Okay, and then so this is the first of its kind event at KQED as well.
Exciting.
So, yeah, we're very excited about it.
Yeah.
But what did you want to really kind of embody with this event and bring to the folks who are here today?
Yeah, well, I wanted them to feel the hospitality because that's what we are all about. I feel like our culture is usually presented in the one-dimensional realm of suffering and war, and I wanted to present an alternative that we are a hospitable, warm people. We like to celebrate like everybody else, and our celebration and our identity is mainly through food and feeding people till they're so stuffed they can't breathe. That's just how we operate, you know,
so nice.
and I want them to feel that love and that warmth and really understand the next time they go to a Middle Eastern restaurant, I want them to be able to understand the nuance. Oh, they use this spice because of this. Oh, these herbs because of that. And really understand the deep dive history behind these dishes to gain a deeper appreciation. Because right now, hummus is $1 billion industry, but people don't really know where hummus came from. And now in Costco, you're getting niche items like kibbeh and katayef. And these are things that I never dreamed would end up in Costco, of all places. And so that's why my mom and I do food reviews, is because we want to teach people this is what you look for when you buy such items too. This is how you know quality, because you don't just want to buy anything and assume it's Middle Eastern. You really want to taste the nuances and the flavors and the textures and gain a deeper understanding of the cuisine.
So that's what everyone was witnessing, was a hummus taste test.
It was a hummus taste test.
Okay.
It wasn't ours.
Okay. All
Just
right.
want to let you all know. No, I do include recipes for how to make it, but sometimes we do a roundup. This is what za'atar should taste like. This is what hummus should taste like. We're going to do one on Dubai chocolates next. So we're just really trying to educate people on what to look for so they have a refined palate as well. Yeah.
So when I first saw your work, it was through NBC Live. I don't know if anybody has seen some of Blanche's work. Excuse me. You are an Emmy-winning journalist. You've done NBC Live, and also I thought that one of the interesting things that ties back into what you just mentioned about these foods that are now becoming more part of our lexicon, part of our daily lives,
Right.
is that you were one of the first Arab Americans to become an entertainment and lifestyle reporter in the United States.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yes. You know, in our culture, as in a lot of Asian cultures, we'll see this in East Asia, South Asia, the emphasis is to become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, that type of thing. I always wanted to be a journalist. It's so funny how we have sort of a parallel life where I wanted to go into news and journalism. And then I entered the world of food. And like you said, like your blood pressure goes down several notches and you feel like you could go to sleep at night without, you know, severe insomnia. And the news is in our face constantly. It's not like it's gone, but it's great to be able to educate people about cuisine as well. And that is another true passion of mine. And so that's why I decided this this definitely is calling my name. Like, I feel like I could blend my journalism background and my culinary background into one and really offer something unique for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, we have 2 chairs by us here.
Yes.
That's not for nothing. We have a panel that you've helped to curate tonight. And actually, in addition to me already knowing your work, I happen to already know the panelists this evening. So this is a really exciting event for me as well, because you know, we've all worked together. So it's really awesome to be able to tell their stories again. Can you tell the folks here who you decided to bring on to the panel and why you decided to bring them on?
Sure. So Chef Saif Makableh, he's the co-owner and chef of Mazra restaurant. And he has 2 locations, San Bruno and Redwood City. And the reason why I loved his restaurant is because you feel like you're in a living room. He has like a Jordanian, Palestinian aesthetic. He makes exceptional mensaf, which is like a very celebratory dish out of Jordan, where you have rice and lamb piled high with like pine nuts and almonds. And it's very hard to find this dish done well. And he does it exceptionally well. And I thought, wow, he'd be perfect. And also Samir Mogannam, he also has a wonderful restaurant called Beit Rima, named for his lovely mother named Rima. And he also, it's like you go there and it feels like you're eating at a grandmother's house. He brings the authenticity on a plate. He has passion. And both of them are from California, so they bring this California aesthetic where they use seasonal, fresh ingredients that California provides with some modern touches, modern whimsical touches. And so I thought both of them are just great ambassadors of the cuisine. I love both of their restaurants, and I adore both of them. So
they are pretty awesome. Let's let the crowd decide once they come out here. But that's a great introduction. So without further ado, let's welcome Saif and Samir to the stage as well.
All right. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you, Saif.
Good to see you too. Good to see you.
Again. Go ahead and sit down. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Go ahead and have a seat. Okay, well, welcome you two. So that was an awesome introduction, wasn't it? Okay, so we actually have another video for you. So the way that I know these two is, who's familiar with a little show that we do here called Check Please Bay Area? It's a decent number. We'll get some more people watching tonight. I have been lucky enough to be working on Check Please Bay Area for the past 5 years now. And Check Please, for those who don't know, is one of our flagship shows. We are celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. 20 years on broadcast, yeah, it's amazing. And it is a fantastic food review show where regular Bay Area residents review and talk about their favorite restaurants. Well, these two gentlemen here, their restaurants were nominated for our show as some of the best restaurants in the Bay Area. So I was their field producer, and I was able to go to their restaurants and had the opportunity to interview them for the show. So I actually have that video for everyone to watch, so they'll maybe be teased into watching the show later. And at the end, there's a little surprise. So let's roll the tape.
Rahil's Pick is a family-owned Mediterranean eatery that tempts your taste buds long before you walk in the door. He says the mouth-watering aroma of wood-fired kebabs and spit-roasted shawarma is irresistible even when you're just driving by. Located in downtown San Bruno, it's Mazra.
Nice to meet you.
Mazra is a place where you come and take it easy with your friends and family, enjoy good food, and leave smelling like some good mesquite. Mediterranean is such a broad term, right? So if we were to focus, I'd say we're more Levant. The Levant is comprised from Turkey to Jordan to Lebanon, Palestine.
So we try to cater to both the street style and the traditional ways of cooking our food.
Our hummus is definitely, I'd say, more Lebanese. Our kebabs are definitely very Jordanian. Being simple with your ingredients, not overpowering them with so many spices and herbs, I think is so important to get the true flavor of what you're eating. Let's get some radishes in there. The real hidden ingredient in that is the actual smokiness of the mesquite grill.
The way we go about them doing it is serving the food the way we would traditionally eat it.
We have 12 different sides at our restaurant. Sometimes we get customers that are like, yeah, my two sides are potatoes and french fries. We understand that some people are not familiar with baba ganoush or tabbouleh.
Yeah.
And that's when my brother is like, all right, I'm going to throw in one of our dips for you just on the house.
San Bruno, it was a place we were born and raised, and we just want to let the community know that, hey, this is supposed to be for us. And y'all feeling good over here as well? So I think one of the most rewarding aspects of it is just not only do we have a diverse crew, a diverse menu, but we also got a diverse set of customers that we see every day. It would make me so proud to say that I work here at Mazra.
At many restaurants, the bread on the table is just an afterthought. But at John's favorite Palestinian eatery, the complete opposite is true. Pillowy, fresh from the oven pita, sprinkled with za'atar, is the main draw. Located in San Francisco's DuBose Triangle, it's Beit Rima.
The inspiration for the name Beit Rima comes from my mom. My mom's name is Rima. And Beit means home, house, or town in Arabic. And growing up, my mom always just hosted amazing dinner parties, and people would just always talk about Beit Rima. All right, guys, got some hummus here. Here at Beit Rima, we call it Arabic comfort food. My parents are Palestinian and Jordanian. I wanted to make a point to identify as Arabic because I feel like our community feels like they have to hide their identity sometimes. So it was a good opportunity to let people know about the hospitality that we offer, the beautiful food that we have, and just to take pride in who we are. Beautiful brands, you know? What makes Beit Rima special is we don't have wraps because I wanted the food to be family style, from dips to salads to cheese to shakshuka. The rice and the relish we put on top of the hummus is a direct recipe from my mom. So Samir's hand-kneaded bread is an elongated pita inflated with hot steam, sprinkled with za'atar and olive oil all over the top. Yeah, it's a little narcissistic, but I had to get my name on that menu somewhere. I pulled the all-nighter here, developing the recipe for that bread. Put a lot of heart and soul and sweat and tears into that bread. I want everything to be craveable and memorable. All right, guys, got a hanger steak? Serving the guests. There you go. Seeing them at the table with their friends and family and sharing and enjoying food. I want them to feel satisfied, satiated, and happy.
But first, food writer and show host Blanche Shaheen is passionate about Middle Eastern food, sharing heirloom recipes from her grandmother, maybe adding a modern twist, and always inviting friends to her pick in Foster City, a town she calls the Venice of California, to sample dishes from the Mediterranean. You can sit outside with the locals and enjoy some hookah at Waterfront Pizza and Mediterranean Restaurant.
Awesome. That is a good surprise. Good surprise.
There's a lot to unpack there. So, the very last clip that you saw, which is the first thing I should explain, is this is so bizarre and has never happened before, but 7 years ago, someone named Blanche was on Check Please Bay Area. So well before this event would have ever been planned, you were actually a guest on the show.
That's right.
Yeah, so that was your intro that I thought I'd put in.
I know, I forgot that I did that.
You had one of the most elaborate intros we've ever had, so I had to throw that one in. And then, of course, also the interview that we both did with the two of you. I do have to just open up by asking, I'm sitting here staring at your parents and your mom's here in the audience, how does it feel to be able to take recipes that you've learned that were passed down to you from the people that care about you the most and be able to continue to share them with the world? I mean, they're smiling so big right now, and I just want to know what that feels like.
Do you want to go ahead first?
I'll let you go first.
Well, it gives me goosebumps because I wanted to give these recipes life. I wanted them to continue and to proliferate and for people to enjoy them. And for me, it's just like a legacy. And sometimes my mom would be like, I'm just cooking so much and I don't know, I'm so tired. And it gets redundant after a while. It's like, and she'd have big, cooking for 20, 30, 40 people. She'd be exhausted. And in my head, I'm like, something's got to come from this. Something's got to come from this. And here we are.
Yeah.
And we're celebrating this cuisine. So for me, it's gone full circle.
Yeah. And Samir, obviously, you just mentioned how you wanted to make sure that you put your own name on the menu and your own stamp. But your restaurant is named after your mother. Like, I can't think of a better way to honor the people of your family than to do that.
It's great to celebrate my mom and our culture. And I came from fine dining, so I would work at these restaurants and we would try so hard to, be avant-garde, and I kind of just started realizing like my mom's like home cooking was better, and the hospitality the hospitality that we offered was better. And a lot of times you go to these like Michelin star restaurants and it's just very uptight, and so that's why when I started Beit Rima, I wanted people to feel comfortable and feel that overwhelming hospitality that my mom's dinner parties would have, and I would see that growing up, and I wanted to emulate that through Beit Rima.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we'll get into more about the businesses and what you all do individually, but I wanted to start by really diving into the idea of flavors of the Levant and just talking about Levant as a region. I'm going to be very honest with everybody. Saif, you were the first person who really made me understand the word Levant.
Cool. All right. I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of thought of it more as like a word used historically.
Yeah.
Maybe I thought of it as a word that was more used by archaeologists. I didn't really think of it as a more of a modern term to be used in the present day. So I'd love to really just kind of start with the idea of the Levant. I know that you all have a little bit of expertise on it. Blanche, you've done a lot of writing about this, but I mean, this region, right? So literally in the term itself, we're talking like the sunrise, right? Like Levant, the word is literally the sun kind of rising over the Eastern Mediterranean. Did I teach you something?
No, yeah, I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Let's talk about this region. I mean, first of all, what is it comprised of? And, what are we talking about when we're talking about the Levant?
Well, I mean, the Levant goes back millennia, but I mean, it's the region of Jordan, Palestine, Syria, and Lebanon. And it was all one big chunk, like if you look at older maps. Then you had the Sykes-Picot Agreement in the early 1900s where the British and the French decided to kind of carve things out with the British mandate and the French mandate. But if you could imagine the Levant as a massive geographical area with kitchens that interpret the cuisine in different ways, but they all share a common heritage. They all share a common heritage, but the Syrians might have more sophisticated spices, the addition of pomegranate molasses. The Lebanese will have more mezza, or like little appetizers celebrating the produce and the citrus that was grown by the Phoenicians in their area. The Palestinians, you have the za'atar spice, the sumac, the olive oil from their olive orchards that's infused. And then you have the Jordanians, where you have the Bedouin communities that affect the cuisine, because the Bedouins really emphasize, feasting and with a large amount of people, so they make giant dishes like mensef, which is what I mentioned earlier. But they all have a common thread beneath them. They'll all eat hummus, they'll all eat falafel. So if you want to imagine the Levant in that perspective, that's how I would describe it.
Right, and we're thinking about also a region where quite literally the land bridge that connects the northern part of Africa, like the travel of it all is kind of influencing the peoples along the way, and the food, of course.
Yeah, it's like the center of spice routes, right? So that's where India brought in spices like cinnamon and cardamom, right? And then they incorporated that into their cuisine. So, and it's very grain heavy, like bulgur wheat, farika wheat, semolina for baking, a huge emphasis on produce. I don't know if you have anything else to add, but
Well,
yeah.
Saif, I mean, in the intro that everybody sees here for the show, for Check Please, you use this terminology very specifically to describe your food. What made you decide to do that? What was the kind of impetus for it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when when you're in California, you look at all, not that I wanted to be on any list, but you look at these lists and you see these restaurants and you never see a list for Levant, right? You never see like top Levantine restaurant. It was just never a category that anyone even knew existed. But touching on like what Samir said even backstage, Mediterranean is definitely not Middle Eastern, but people here at least feel that it is. So, you have a lot of restaurants, myself included, that feel like we have to adopt that name. And we have to call ourselves, a Mediterranean restaurant, at least for Google and for all these things. But I felt like, at any chance I get, I have to make it a point that we are a Levantine restaurant.
Right.
And, it's different. The Levant, just like she kind of mentioned, Blanche, we all have kind of like that underlying fabric of food that we all share, right? The Arabic salad, the hummus, the baba ganoush, these things are like the basic of what we do. But you look at all the countries in the Levant and geographically what they have something like special about it, So what they do in that region, so that was kind of
part of the reasoning behind it for you.
Yeah.
You made a slightly different choice on how you wanted to identify your restaurant a little bit.
Definitely, I wanted to identify as Arabic because a lot of people kind of go behind Mediterranean, which is very vague. Middle Eastern is very vague, and I wanted to say what it was. The Levant, really comprises of Arabic. The Arabic world along the Mediterranean Sea, and it has the coast, it has the mountains, it has the desert. So it's a very diverse land with a lot of things that are ubiquitous throughout the area. But again, like he was saying, in Syria and Lebanon they have kibaniya, which is like a lamb tartare, which you see in that region more so than Palestine and Jordan, where you'll see more mensef and msakhin. So we're just trying to bring more light to the region because the cuisine throughout the Levant is just absolutely amazing. It's fresh, it's delicious, it's healthy, and it's just packed with flavor, and we're just here to share it with the world.
And it's quite varied, so let's continue to talk about flavors, right? Sure. We're gonna actually be able to see 3 demonstrations tonight. Each one of them has brought a dish that they're going to be showing you all how to make. And it wouldn't be a food event unless you got a chance to try it. So at the end of the show, you'll be able to go out into the lobby and have a taste. But what are some of the flavors that you all really love to work with? And we can start talking about other dishes beyond the ones that you'll show us for the demos. But what are some of the things that you all love to work with? You all as chefs, right? And then you two as restaurateurs. What are some of the things that you love to share with people that maybe they're not expecting, flavor-wise?
Well, for me, spices. I mean, I like to keep things a little basic with what we do, especially at the restaurant. But some things that always stand out to me is like cardamom, coriander. Those things like really stand out to me. When I like smell kamun, I see that it's being shared by other cultures. But I don't know, pomegranate molasses, lemon especially. I feel like, us in the Levant, we're not so vinegar heavy,
We love sour.
Yeah,
we love
we
sour
really do.
everything.
Absolutely.
Lots of lemon. Yeah.
So I think lemon, olive oil we were talking about earlier as well.
What are some of the things you really enjoy cooking with and showing off and showcasing?
I was gonna say spices, then he said spices. I was gonna say garlic, lemon, olive oil. He said garlic, lemon, olive oil. But garlic, lemon, olive oil is definitely like a big affinity, especially if you add a little chili in there too. The spices, we use a lot of like what I like to call warm spices. So we have a spice blend that's called baharat. So baharat could be as simple as like black pepper and allspice, and it could be up to 7 to 10 spices. So that's something I use on the menu a lot. Different baharat mixes for different dishes. And I'll be going into that a little bit more later.
Yeah. So let's just kind of dive into what you all do. I mean, let's talk a little bit more about the restaurant. You both kind of share quite a bit in common, right? Okay, so we both have 2 locations of restaurants, okay? Both heavily inspired by your families and their recipes. And you both decided to open kind of around the same time, 2019
and 20.
20, yeah.
2020. So tell me a little bit about yours. I mean, each of you also gained quite a bit of success fairly quickly. You were mentioning being on the top of some lists, and if I'm not mistaken, Mazra was voted as one of the top 100 restaurants in the nation by Yelp at a certain point, and you reached number 2.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing.
You know, a fun fact that the series producer of our show for Check Please likes to point out, which I think will be very interesting for all of you, is that Yelp started about 20 years ago, okay? 20 years ago, Yelp starts, and Check Please is starting right at the same time. So if you're trying to imagine like the idea of a television review show coming out before even people were like reviewing food, right? That's pretty amazing. So for you to get that kind of recognition on this list nationwide, what happened at the restaurant?
Oh, it was mayhem. I remember getting a call from Yelp, and they're like, you know, you better overstaff. You know, you definitely need, you know, a lot of people to come in once we announce it. And I'm like, you know, like called my mom, my dad. I'm like, you know, they come in, and before I even open, I'm telling you, a line around the corner, and I'm in panic mode. I'm like, I can't possibly make all this food the way I want to make it, right? And without these people waiting, you know, hours. And my dad would just go out there, you know, with falafel, feeding people in line. It's like, don't leave, okay? Like, don't worry, we're gonna get you. And people didn't leave. And, you know, we thought it was a wave, and we're still riding that wave.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it started out as a small shop, right?
Yeah, it was a grocery store.
Yeah, I was gonna say another thing we have in common is we took over our parents' prior businesses. And if I remember correctly, in between me opening and you opening, I think we ran into each other at a wedding, and you asked me like, "Hey, is it a good idea?" And I was like, "Bro, people love our food, do it."
1,000%. So again, he probably doesn't even know this, but I heard of Beit Rima. Like before I even started Mazra, I seen, you know, basically how popular he became, and I loved the food. I loved what he was doing, how he was putting on for everyone. And again, that was huge motivation for me. So he definitely, no, he really did it. And,
beautiful.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Look at this. Look at this.
There's a bromance going on.
Yeah, no, it really was. And I didn't know him prior to this. Again, this is just some guy I would see like on a newspaper. So it was cool.
Well, but let me ask you this. I mean, how much of this is important to like the idea of the future of the cuisine continuing forward and the cultural significance of seeing someone in a space who's showing you what's possible? I mean, you were one of the first, right?
Yeah, well, it fills my heart because these are the culinary masters that are carrying these traditions to a large amount of people all over the Bay Area and really making a name for themselves. And for me, that's what I anticipated. I mean, even when I was writing my cookbook, right, I would write an article a week for various newspapers, and then I compiled all the articles to create the cookbook. And it's like, that's how you do it. Painstakingly, you start by taking over your dad's business, and then you expand, and then you expand, and then it's like we're all in it together. It's like we're all one big family. We understand each other on a visceral level without even knowing each other. And that's what's beautiful about our cuisine is, for example, in my YouTube channel, Feast in the Middle East, I could be making something and then I'll get an email from somebody in Chile, and she'll write me and say, "You're making that soup the same exact way my mom makes it." And she's Palestinian and she moved to Chile in the diaspora 50 years ago. So what's the deal? Like, we all make it the same way? And I said, yes, that is the thread that binds us all together. And these restaurants help spread that thread to other people so they could appreciate it and enjoy it, not just as a Mediterranean restaurant. There's so much more to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you mentioned kind of growing up, maybe feeling a sense of almost alienation.
Absolutely.
Can you talk more about that?
Well, I mean, when you're growing up, especially growing up in now San Francisco is so culturally diverse. I was born and raised in San Francisco, but when I was younger, I went to an Irish Catholic school, and I really stood out like a sore thumb, and I felt so weird, you know. And I would take my hummus and pita sandwiches to school, and the kids would tease me, and they're like, "What is that nasty beige stuff?" And then my dad, and I'd come home like, "Dad, can't you just give me peanut butter and jelly?" And my dad would be like, "That's what they give in jail. We're not gonna." It's what they feed the convicts in jail. You want me to give you peanut butter? And I'm like, Dad, what are you talking about? Everybody eats it at school. So, you know, it's that kind of idea where I was like, peanut butter in jail. So now I don't really eat peanut butter as much as, but anyway, so as I got older, and then I started seeing the kids saying, oh yeah, I eat, they call it hummus. Hummus? How do they say it? Not hummus, they say it hummus.
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 And I'm like, I'm eating hummus. I'm like, what? And then I try it, and I'm like, what? That is not. I don't know where you got that from, but that is not hummus, you know? And so that's when I started getting this growing awareness that, no, we're not weird. We actually have something special to offer. People just haven't given us a chance yet. And so that's why I love food, because it's a way of communicating with people. It's a universal language. It brings people together. You can't fight when you're sharing bread together at a table, which I like.
I think that's a perfect segue into your dish on your menu, the Samir's hand-kneaded bread. So you're talking about like this pillowy, soft deliciousness. Your place of business was actually a totally different type of cuisine before that your father had.
Yeah, American burgers and ribs and beer, and we still do beer, Palestinian beer when we could get it. But
your father started Burgermeister?
My dad started Burgermeister in 1999, and his entrepreneurship definitely was an inspiration for me as well.
Right, but so he didn't start with the food of your culture?
No, he started with...
Why is that?
Maybe we could ask him.
Go ahead. There you go. That's great.
There you go. Dad loves burgers. I like burgers too, but I like my mom's food better. So.
Wow. Okay, so then you decided at what point to kind of switch? What was the change for you all? What did you decide to do? You wanted to start something on your own.
Yeah, you know, there was a high saturation of burger chains opening. And just due to like, I had already done like Arabic pop-ups. My last two chef positions, before Beit Rima were at like high-end Mediterranean restaurants. So I was taking those jobs, intentionally. And I was challenging myself to get better. When I started my pop-up actually, back in like 2014, 15, I actually didn't know how to cook Arabic food at all. And I actually did the pop-up to challenge myself to learn the cuisine. And
that's interesting to me. So were you not in the kitchen with?
Well, I was working at like fine dining restaurants where I was cooking whatever the chef told me to cook. But this pop-up was actually a lot of the pop-ups I did were like right here in this area. There used to be a company called Eat Feastly, where they would connect foodies with chefs doing pop-ups, and they had a studio right over, like a loft office that they would lend to the chefs to do pop-ups at. And one of my early dishes on that menu was like a little succulent tasting that everyone's gonna get to try tonight. So I've been really like, manifesting, sharing this dish for over 10 years now. And I'm just really happy I finally got it on the menu like 3 months ago.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
so I've been, this is my dad's favorite dish. It's one of the national dishes of Palestine.
Right.
So I'm really happy to be sharing that, and I'm excited.
I find it interesting that was your mom not showing you, like in the kitchen? Were you not trailing along and learning some of these recipes at the same time?
Growing up, I was, playing sports and hanging out with my friends. So I would just come home and eat, and I wasn't really, my mom would always say, get out the kitchen, I need my space. So didn't really get to learn from her too much in like detail.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to challenge myself, and I would call her, I'd be like in the prepping for my pop-up, like, hey mom, what, so it worked out,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, great. And then you also were recognized as well for your restaurant, the James Beard.
Yeah.
You were recognized as one of the top restaurants as well. That must have been a really interesting time as well for you to get that sort of recognition. How did that feel?
We got a lot of accolades over the years, but the James Beard one actually caught me by surprise, because usually it's more, kind of high-end, fine dining type restaurants that get nominated for that. So it wasn't really on my radar. So, I woke up one day and my phone just started blowing up, and I was like, oh God, I can't believe this is happening. And then, we were, it was crazy. It was a crazy roller coaster at that time because I opened my third location in Daly City, which we parted ways with.
Right.
And then 3 weeks after that, we got nominated for James Beard Best New Restaurant in the Country long list. And then 3 weeks after that was the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
Mid-March 2020. So it was literally like, 2-hour wait to like maybe a couple of people ordering to go the next weekend.
Right.
So it was a big, it was a crazy time.
Time for restaurants.
It was a crazy time. It was a crazy up and down, but we persevered. We started doing delivery. We started doing catering, and thankfully we're doing all right.
Yeah, so you still have the 2 locations, and I mean, let's talk about perseverance. Saif, you at Mazra in San Bruno, you all are getting these long lines from Yelp. You're just doing an amazing job. Everything's working out great. You decide to open a second location, and shortly after, devastation hits.
Yeah, we had a kitchen fire 2 months into our location in Redwood City.
I called you.
Yeah, did you?
Oh
yeah.
Shows how much you remember.
I got a few calls.
Yeah, I
Thank
called
you
you.
so
You
much.
remember? No? Okay, I called you. I was worried about
Thank
you.
so much.
Yeah, I was
really
worried.
Appreciate that.
And then, but now you apparently not.
It was a chaotic time. I'm trying to block that time.
Okay,
out.
okay. Yeah. But you guys are going to be coming back.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that restaurant is fully back open.
San Bruno as well.
Well, yeah, San Bruno should be back open in July. So yeah, we're back in full effect. The fire was definitely a learning experience. So, originally when we started, we cooked all our meat on mesquite, and it was done outside in San Bruno. And of course, that's illegal. And I didn't know this. So, but luckily, I did this when like COVID had just began, and most of the city officials, again, they weren't working.
Right,
they were all just not there. So we were able to basically get really popular really fast. And by the time they came back to the office, they're like, you're too big for us just to close you, so we're gonna work with you to like figure this out. Which was basically led to the closure, to remodel it, bring the charcoal inside.
Right.
Which we did that in Redwood City. We thought we did a great job at it, and we didn't. So somehow the charcoal leaked through one of the walls. And for anyone who plans to ever, put charcoal on a wall, make sure it's not stainless steel. Use tile. Tile is a lot better.
Take that with you, everybody. That's good.
But
good
again,
advice.
so it was a learning experience for us.
It's something that comes to my mind that's kind of interesting is like thinking about too, like when you're having to adapt recipes for a new location outside of the place that you're from, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about cooking with mesquite, right? There's all these sorts of like regulations that are totally different from like where your culture stems from and where you are, right? So that's like another thing to have to like kind of navigate, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so who's excited to learn about some food? I would love it right now if we could actually put up the first slide for your dish, Blanche, which has the ingredients on it.
Yes.
Each of you, as I mentioned, in the lobby will be able to have a sampling of these dishes that we're going to learn how to make right now. There will be a little bit of everything on this plate, and so for each of you, I'm going to put up the ingredients list, so if anybody has any allergies, you can see what these ingredients are now. Because it will all be plated together once we hit the lobby, okay? But Blanche and I, let's hit over here, and then let's learn how to make this dish, and then you two, you're gonna be watching and seeing if we're doing this right? Okay, so I'm gonna be learning how to do this for the first time.
Great.
I'm actually gonna need your assistance to tell me exactly how to pronounce this dish.
Sure.
And tell me all you can about it.
So it's called Levant Machyad, which means yogurt and cucumber. And actually in our cuisine, we eat yogurt with a lot of dishes. They'll serve yogurt on the side. This is cucumber yogurt sauce, and the reason why they've done that throughout millennia is they intuitively knew that if you eat the yogurt on the side, it'll help with digestion, it'll maximize the absorption of protein if you serve it with something like lamb, and maximize the absorption of vitamins and minerals if you stir it in a grain dish like bulgur or frika. So it is quintessential to have this with almost every dish, and that's why we're going to have it with tonight's menu.
And as we're doing this, I'm going to ask the audience and see if they actually know the answer to this, which is a question I'm going to pose to you. What do you think is the main thing that ties all three of these dishes together tonight? Somebody just yell it out. Who thinks that? What did you say? Did you say lemon? Lemon? No. Olive oil. That is the one. Yes, olive oil. Let's talk about olive oil in a moment, but first, let's just talk about the full ingredients. We'll finish with olive oil as the last one because I want to help get started to make this because I've never done it before. So what are all the ingredients we have?
So first, I have Greek yogurt in here already, and I have the cucumber. Now, there's a technique to the cucumber, right? So this is the kind we use. We use Persian cucumber, and the reason
use these too?
yeah,
Persian?
gotta use Persian cucumber. It actually was cultivated by the Persians thousands of years ago, and what I like to do is I grate it and I put it in a colander like this. So you grate it inside the colander, and the important thing about cucumber yogurt sauce is you really want it to not be watery. You want it to be as creamy as possible. In order to do that, you have to extract the moisture from the cucumber. So after she grates it here, what I like to do is I add some salt to season the cucumber, wait for the salt through osmosis to kind of leach the juice out of the cucumber, and then I squeeze it with like a cheesecloth, get all that water out.
Is there like a guard for this?
Yeah, I know. You're good. No, we don't want you to take off your fingers.
So we stop here. Okay. All right. So
excellent.
So we start with the Persian cucumber. We've got Greek yogurt, and then talk about the other ingredients first. Let's start with those.
So we like garlic with everything. So I'm going to just add some fresh garlic. These are things you'll never find in a cucumber yogurt sauce that's store-bought. You're not going to find fresh garlic.
And put a little bit of salt in the cucumber normally if someone's making it at home.
If they're making it at home. And I usually squeeze out, all the juice before I add. Fortunately for you, I already did that here.
Okay, so we'll show them here. So we would normally do a little bit of salt. We would let this kind of sit, allow some of the moisture to come out. Then you would kind of take the cucumber and kind of squeeze it?
Yeah.
And normally, was it with a cheesecloth
or a paper towel? Just get all that moisture out, right? Just like that. You see all that moisture that's leaching out already? Just like that. So you don't want that in the dip.
Because that's going to make it watery.
It's going to make it watery. So
you actually got quite a bit of juice out just from
without even squeezing it too much.
I'm going to just go ahead and brag really quickly, just really quickly. Okay, so I'm really excited because this is actually the first event that we're having a brand new camera. Ooh. So this camera, you would never before see this amount of juice in a bowl.
Right.
you would never see that. So I'm so excited. It's been a long time in the making.
Juice.
It's the little things here.
Yeah, it's the little things we need to celebrate. Absolutely.
Okay, so then after one would do that, then they would have a little bit of salt, some garlic, a little bit of cucumber that's strained, and then what is this here?
This is minced mint, okay? So mint is huge in our cuisine. So you know how Italians love basil, Arabs love mint, and we put it in everything. Fresh mint, especially in our salads. It really freshens and brightens up the dip. And so I just mince it really finely. Okay. Of course, some lemon juice. I told you we love the sour everything, right? And that's definitely huge in our culture, some lemon juice. And finally, the olive oil.
So let's talk olive oil.
Yes, so olive oil, I have a whole series on my channel about how to avoid counterfeit olive oil because it is a thing, unfortunately. I personally, if you can get Palestinian olive oil, I highly recommend it. You could order it off Amazon, and we're lucky to live where we live because there's lots of Middle Eastern markets where they sell Palestinian olive oil. It's super fruity, it's zesty, it's got a punch, it's deep green, it's full of polyphenols, and it adds such an amazing dimension to your dip than any store-bought olive oil. And I highly recommend when you're shopping for olive oil, make sure that it comes in a glass bottle, not plastic, definitely a dark colored, and always check for a harvest date because that'll tell you that the olive oil is fresh. If you don't have a harvest date, chances are it might be counterfeit because they don't care when the harvest date is and they'll blend it with stuff like canola oil or corn oil or whatever.
So
that's basically it.
I watched your video about this olive oil that you're talking about. So it was, is your olive oil fake, right? Is that your video? Okay, so Feast in the Middle East, this video got you 1.1 million views.
Yes.
Okay, and what I was surprised is that midway through the video, you actually take the bottle of olive oil and you just swig from it like it's liquor.
I just took a swig, yeah.
You just take this giant swig of olive oil, and I'm wondering if that's what got you the 1.1 million views.
You know, that's very possible. I mean, my mom, her mom would make her drink an ounce of olive oil every morning to protect her from illness because there's so many anti-inflammatory properties in the olive oil. And so that we treat it, medicine is food for us. I mean, food is medicine, medicine is food.
Yeah.
So yes, so maybe that's why they liked it. They liked watching me drink the olive oil out of the bottle. But usually I would let this dip sit for at least a couple of hours in the refrigerator to let the flavors blend. And you could treat it like you would ranch. You could dip your pizza in there if you want, but you could also eat it with a side of your proteins. You can use it as a sandwich spread. I mean, there's so many ways you could use it. And when you make it fresh, there's nothing like it. I mean, the ones in the store, it's gonna have old cucumber. Have you ever had old cucumber? It's not so tasty. So definitely I recommend. Did you see how long this took?
I mean, I made it.
She made it and she did a great job.
So this is going to be served on the side, and you encourage all of them when they're out there trying it to put this actually on the items that we're going to learn from Samir and Saif.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's going to enhance the flavor of the other items, and we can't wait for you to try it all. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Let's
so
give her a
I'm
round
gonna
of
take this
applause.
away.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Okay, so that is kind of like the start of the meal. We've got like an amazing dip that can kind of be like, basically like tapas or meze, right? This is what we kind of put with like a lot of things. It can be drizzled on top. And then you've brought something that kind of I recognize, but from a very different region and different culture. This is basically almost what you would call like a dolma, but you have the name Yalangi?
Yalangi.
Yalangi,
Yes,
Yalangi. Okay,
Yalangi.
so let's put the ingredients list for this one up. This one is going to be a little bit different than a dolma because of the types of ingredients that you're going to put inside. So, first of all, a little bit of history on this dish, right? This is kind of an interesting thing.
Well, yeah, so you guys probably heard of this dish, known as like dolma, warak anab, warak dawali, yalangi. So yalangi basically means lie or liar. And the reason why is because there's no meat in it. Now, Arabs typically expect meat in everything. So when you roll warak anab, they expect you to have lamb in it.
So if you don't, you're a liar.
Basically.
Got it.
So
Okay.
the Syrians, for whatever reason, adopted this, and they call it yalangi.
Yalangi.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so first of all, before we even get started, what are all of the ingredients that we have here?
Ooh, so we got some parsley. I actually minced some mint in there as well.
Okay.
We have some short grain rice there.
Great.
Uncle Ben's works.
Okay. Keep it
It
simple.
does, guys.
All right.
Some white onion, minced, pomegranate molasses, allspice, tomatoes. And here what I have is basically some chicken stock, some red pepper paste, tomato paste, and a little bit of lemon juice. And that's a broth, by the way, that we actually cook the dolmas after we roll them up in.
Okay, okay. And then a little salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
Some additional lemon juice on the
Heck
side.
yeah,
Why
yeah,
not?
We want a little lemon.
And of course, our olive oil. And then this is just some
That's where you find it.
jarred grape leaves. So this is just in water, you said. right?
Absolutely. Well, water and salt. So,
Water and salt.
once you buy this, I definitely recommend like washing it, running it through water. It's definitely very salty.
Okay, awesome. Do you two make these? Do you have something like this on your menu at Beit Rima?
You have to go to the real Beit Rima for that. My mom makes what at the Wali.
Okay. All right, so we're invited to the house later? Is that okay?
It
All right,
takes
so
a lot.
we'll start
It
with
takes
this.
a
So
long time to
definitely,
make.
add your rice,
Okay, great.
add your, basically throw it all in except for this.
Except for this. Okay, great. And this would be roughly the kind of amount that if somebody was going to try to make this at home, you would use.
Absolutely. I mean, again, there is no real like strict recipe for yalangi. Some people put bell peppers in it. Some people put, don't put pomegranate molasses. I was talking to them, and none of them put pomegranate molasses.
It's
I
a
think-
Syrian thing because this is a Syrian interpretation.
Yeah, right. So again, it really is up to you. Throw any herbs. A lot of people, like the Greeks, love to throw dill in there.
Okay, all right. And then I'm assuming not all of this salt and pepper, right?
Not all of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
What? Okay,
All right.
just a little bit.
Go crazy with it.
All right, and then we're saving this, and then
Yeah, you
just
could always throw a little bit
a
of
little
that
bit.
in there.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay, why not? Why not? My first time. Why not? All right,
A
little
little
bit.
bit? All right, cool.
Okay, and then some olive oil inside too.
Absolutely,
Okay, great.
yeah.
Why not?
Glisten
This is
that
the thing
baby
that
up.
connects everything together.
Thank you. All right.
All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and toss this up.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So again, with grape leaves, I left these out for a little bit, so they definitely dried out. But Yeah, see, that's a good ratio, right?
Nice.
I could tell it's
Well, I've never had this before, so you got to tell me. This
Yeah,
looks
no,
really
it's,
good. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is, you know, you never wanna put too much in this. Once we roll this, if you put too much in it and you roll it too tight, they basically, once it cooks, the rice expands and it rips open.
Okay. So you're gonna show me how to do this?
Absolutely,
Okay.
so let's
All right.
do this here. So we're gonna put a little bit in here.
Okay.
Definitely a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay. Let me do it. I want to learn how to do it. Okay, so let's see.
That's how much I'm
let's let the
putting
new
in my-
camera catch up. It's warming up still.
I'm putting that much, maybe a little less.
Okay.
You definitely overdid
much?
it
Too
there,
much?
but it's all good.
Okay.
All right,
I
yeah, we
got
could
this,
take
I
a
got
little bit off. There we
My
go.
first time, my first Yalangi.
Like a lot more.
Everyone's gonna know I'm a. Everyone's gonna know I'm a Yalangi, right?
There you go. Yeah,
A liar.
All right, there you
Okay.
go. So
All right.
first, all right, so what I like to do is, again, I kind of, you know, some of you, I'm sure, have a lot of experience in this from California.
I did go to Humboldt State University.
There you go. All right, so you kind of, you know, you're going to kind of do this right here. There you go. Yeah.
Okay,
no,
okay.
turn, hey,
Okay.
you know, like squeeze the
gotcha,
rice,
okay.
form the rice, form the rice, yeah.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
But we don't want to lick this after. Okay, so
No.
we just go like
Again,
this.
now when,
Okay.
see, now you got to tuck it, and, you know,
Tuck and
again,
roll.
not too tight.
Not too tight because
You got to let the rice breathe.
Okay.
Exactly. So kind of, you know, just let it roll over itself, right? So I'm
Yes.
not pushing it. I'm letting the gravity do its work.
Oh my gosh. Whoa. Yours is yours is so
This is live. We're kidding.
Wait.
Yeah.
How's mine?
Yeah, but you know, you want to, yeah, there you go. Beautiful.
Yeah? Yes. Yalangi. Okay, I did it. Thank you. All right, let's move this all out of the way. All right, I am a liar no more. I now know how to make this dish. And so that would then cook with some of that red sauce. It would steam together. Is that how it goes?
Absolutely. So yeah, you just, you know, cook it, let it steam in there, and that's it.
Awesome. Okay, great. All right, so there's one final dish here, and this one is quite something because we don't currently want to have any fires on our site. We don't have any live cooking, so a lot of yours has been prepared already, right? You've got a lot of it cooked down. What is the name of this dish, and what are some of the things that you've done so far to get it prepped already?
All right, so this dish is called msakhin. For American speakers, you could say musakhan. So this is definitely one of the national dishes of Palestine. So I will walk you guys through how to make it at home. Actually, Beit Rima, we kind of hacked it to be a little like more servable on like a individual level for people to come try it.
Right. So what are all the ingredients we have here, and what do you start with?
All right, so we're gonna start with our chicken thighs first. We're gonna put our baharat seasoning on there,
Right.
which is in this case gonna be 7 spices. We got cinnamon, cardamom, black pepper, allspice, coriander, cumin, and nutmeg.
And so you cook the chicken in this, like it gets rubbed in it?
So we season the chicken with that spice,
Okay.
salt, and then we're gonna put it in a pan, fill it up halfway with some chicken stock, a little bit of olive oil. You could throw some bay leaves in there as well, and you're gonna throw it in the oven to braise for about an hour.
Okay.
After an hour, you're gonna take the top off and let the skin render a little bit with the convection on. While the chicken's in the oven, you're gonna caramelize your onions. You could use yellow or red onions. Those are gonna caramelize for at least 45 minutes. You wanna get all the moisture out of them. You wanna get them sweet. At the end of them cooking down, you wanna throw a big pinch of sumac in there.
In with the onions.
In with the onions as
Okay.
well. This dish really kind of,
This is like a key spice, right? Okay, so this
Yeah.
is like kind of like a reddish, flourish plant, and it's kind of ground down. And I mean, how would you describe the flavor?
It's very tangy and lemony. So they will even use it instead of lemon in some dishes, but it adds a lemony, tangy flavor.
Okay, awesome. So that gets cooked in with here. Great.
Yep, so
All right.
you get your onions caramelized, you pull your chicken out of the oven. You're gonna take your chicken out of the drippings that have been created at the bottom of that pan.
Right.
And we're gonna just kind of show you guys how we get down on this.
So we'll plate it here, and then should we pour the
Yeah.
juices here? Okay,
Yeah.
so this is quite literally what you do. Like you take the pita and you like put it in the drippings.
Exactly.
From the chicken that you've been cooking, right? Okay.
Exactly.
So it kind of soaks in it. Does it sit in it for a while?
Yeah, so we'll fully submerge the pita on each side for like 3 to 5 seconds. in the restaurant.
Okay, great.
And then we're ready to start building our dish here.
Okay, great. So then after you do that, you kind of soak it in all of those juices and everything that it's cooked in. And then for plating, what do? You do a little bit of
the other side here so it kind of fits in.
Okay,
then we'll
great.
do the onions here.
Okay, great.
Yeah, there
Don't
you
waste
go.
any of the juices, right? No? Okay, great. All right, great. So then some of the onion goes in here. Okay. Can we get
With the spoons. Here we go.
Oh, I got it. I got it. Yeah, got it. Okay.
You can spread that around though.
Okay, cool. So then you just kind of push it and like give a little bit of onion for every bite, right?
Yep. Now you can throw that chicken on top.
Great.
And now this dish is called msakin, and it is roasted twice. So now this is where we would actually throw it back in the oven. The outside of that bread is gonna get brown and beautiful and toasty, while the inside of the bread is gonna be more saturated and juicy.
Great.
And then once it comes out of the oven for the second time, we're gonna go ahead and garnish it.
All right, and so what do you use for garnish?
You could go ahead and hit with these three right here.
Okay, so definitely a little bit of the sumac that
A
we
lot
have.
of the sumac.
A lot of the sumac, okay, so a lot of extra flavor and the lemoniness. And then you've got some toasted pine nuts?
Toasted pine nuts here. You could see the darker ones are actually the color you really want to get.
Okay, great.
Yeah, on this dish. This dish really showcases Palestinian umami from the saturated bread that gets toasty, the caramelized onions with the sumac,
Yes.
the caramelization on the chicken and on the pine nuts. This dish really showcases Palestinian umami to me.
Right. And you said this is it's a very special dish, right? You have a little bit of the history as well.
Yeah, actually, this is a dish that's celebrated in the olive harvest every October. So what they do is they pick all the olives from the trees, they have a picnic, they go take the olives to the press when it's ready, and that's the first dish that they'll make to showcase the olive oil is the msakhan, and they'll share it with everybody that participated in the olive harvest. So,
And then maybe just a little bit of olive oil drizzle to finish, right?
We do actually finish everything at my restaurant with olive oil.
Perfect. Okay, great. And that's really just showcasing exactly what she said and getting that additional flavor in. And then this is, how does one eat this?
Actually, this is something we call khammis, which is basically just eating with your hands. When I serve this at the restaurant, I recommend people eat it with their hands. So I tell people the way I eat it is I take the bone out, get that out the way, start tearing up the chicken, kind of even toss it with the caramelized onions, and then I'll just grab a little piece of bread, a little bit of onions, a little bit of chicken. Today for your tasting, I did all that work for you, so don't worry. I deboned the chicken, shredded it, tossed it with the onions. Yeah, so it'll be an easy bite for you guys today.
Yeah.
But if you come to the restaurant, don't be scared to use your hands when you're having it.
Amazing.
Thank
Great.
you.
Let's give it a hand. Okay, so everyone's mouth must be watering, right? Yeah? Okay, they are hungry. That's great. Let me just ask you all this. Gotten a chance to share your food, the flavors from the places that you're from. What do you hope that people come away with after this? Like, what's the desire and moving forward, especially during the times that we're going through, and how I personally hope that we all become more and more connected through listening to the types of stories that we've heard tonight, so that we can continue to realize how much we are the same versus different. Do you all have thoughts that you hope people take away with them?
I wish I could be really deep about it right now, but like, just come to my restaurant. Hopefully you guys.
He's plugging his restaurant. Okay.
I mean, you know, like, again, you'll see like really what Levantine food is about. You know, I think Samir and I have always felt, and again, Blanche too.
well, there's been an ongoing attempt to erase us, dehumanize us, stereotype us. We just want to show you we're just like you. We have something beautiful to offer, and we want to retain these traditions and share it with the world. And we want you to identify those traditions with us when you go into a restaurant and you taste these flavors, to understand the stories and the people behind it and the centuries that we bring to that dish, whether it's from the harvest, whether it's from the love that we have for each other, for our families, for our guests, and the hospitality that we love to exude to others. That's really what this is all about.
And through the strengths and trials and tribulations that you've gone through, and the perseverance that we've talked about throughout the night, that you'll continue to be able to share those
Definitely.
dishes and stories. Is there anything that you want people to go away with
Yeah, just kind of knowing what the Levant is. It's not really a region that's talked about much. Also just, people, just educating people about our deep history, our culture, so that when, maybe you meet someone that's Palestinian or Lebanese, maybe you don't bring up, the political climate. Maybe you bring up like, oh my God, you guys' food is so amazing. You guys have such deep, rich history, because unfortunately a lot of times our identity is kind of linked with, maybe current events or whatnot. So that's really just, doesn't really identify who we are, So I just hope really people kind of come away with knowing that we will welcome anyone into our homes. We have big hearts, and we like to express that by feeding you a bunch of food and giving you a bunch of love.
Yeah,
so.
big hearts and big plates.
Yeah.
I encourage you all to hang out in the lobby, get a chance to know some of the folks around you, enjoy some of the food. I think that did you bring a treat too? You brought a treat that they were able to try?
Oh, did they have it? They didn't get the treat?
Did everybody get a little treat? Great.
They did. Okay, on the way.
So enjoy your little treat. Did you all have a great time? Yeah? Okay, good. I personally really appreciate you all coming. When I first started doing this, you talk about the pandemic, we were having like half as many people in this beautiful common space. Very scared and worried, but all gathering together. And I think that the big energy that we're able to get and be able to do and make these live events possible is because you can be here today. So I thank each and every one of you for coming. I also want to thank the people who are watching at home, because if you can't make it here, you can always watch live stream. So I know that you guys were having fun at home watching, but you didn't have as much fun as we had here today. You're going to eat some food in the lobby. And if you enjoyed this, I do have another event coming up. It's called Chew on This. It's a food game show where people will analyze, answer, and eat their way to the top of the food chain, and it's going to be on May 13th. It is ridiculous fun. It's so much food trivia and just a lot of wackiness on stage. I want to give it up to all of the producers here at KQED. Thank you so much. Huge thank you to Paloma Barca Cortez, who helped put this whole thing together. A huge thank you to you, Blanche, for everything and bringing these guys together. A thank you to the booth. A thank you to all you. And we hope to see you next time. Please get tickets at kqed.org/live for all the events if you want to come and join us. And have a great night. Thank you.